joined by Delaney Jane, which is very exciting. Thank you for taking some time for us this afternoon.
Of course, thanks for having me. It's been a while since I reconnected to my Canadian fam.
That's right. Of course, from Toronto, is it?
Yeah, I mean, technically, I grew up an hour west of Toronto, but for everyone else, yeah, Toronto's close enough.
We've been playing a lot of your music over the last few years, specifically, most recently, with Virginia to Vegas with Just As Much. So, huge fan of the work you've been doing. And I understand that you have continued. You got a whole lot coming up in the near future.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much. The support is so appreciated, both by me and Virginia to Vegas. That song is so special. And what's kind of ironic about it is that I wrote it originally a couple years ago now when I was going through a breakup. And I'm now going through another breakup. So it's taken on, different meaning, but the same meaning all over again. And it's crazy how so much time can pass and yet you hear a song and like that one, it will still bring me to tears. So I hope that everyone else feels it as much as I'm still feeling it. And as far as what's coming next, oh my gosh, I've been working pretty endlessly on the new music through all of the pandemic, and I'm kind of like switching lanes a little bit, like always staying true to my sound and my very raw emotional storytelling. But I would just say, get ready to hear some weird genre bending, like very out there, almost like some old Gwen Stefani No Doubt vibes coming in.
All right.
But yeah, I'm super excited to share this new stuff with everybody.
Hey, I'm a big Gwen Stefani fan. I'm not at all disappointed that you're going in that direction. That's pretty awesome. What, and you started in like EDM, right? EDM and kind of some pop, so kind of shifting a little bit, which is it's got to be fun to do that shift.
Yeah, it's been a crazy journey, honestly. Getting to kind of come up in the EDM world was so fun because I mean that whole scene is just like the highest energy, and
Oh,
getting to play all the craziest, biggest festivals all over the world. I was able to see the world, Asia, Indonesia, America, the list goes on. But I always had so much to say from my own heart. And as much as I loved writing top lines on electronic dance records, I'm like, man, my heart just yearns to tell my own stories. So
yeah.
yeah, when I kind of switched lanes and dove right into pop, I finally got to express all the things that had been bubbling up inside me. And, I've been writing poetry since I was a little girl, playing
Mhm.
acoustic guitar since I was 14. So I was always writing my own songs. Getting to put out my first album, Dirty Pretty Things, was one of the most fulfilling things to my heart and soul in my entire life so far. So yeah, I'm really ready and excited for this next album because it's like the next chapter of my life that I'm really excited to share with people, and I think will be really relatable as well.
Well, and talking about your life, I'm first off, sorry to hear about the breakup. You doing okay?
Yeah, it's like this. It's like this. It comes in
Yeah.
waves. It's a weird one because I feel like I met my twin flame at the wrong time, and
Mm.
so we've separated, but we're still so madly in love with one another. So
Oh,
it's very confusing,
oh.
not having like very clear black and white, like, no, we're not meant to be together. But I am just putting my faith in the universe and trusting in divine timing. So yeah,
How
giving it to the greater spirit that I believe
Yeah.
in.
I don't know how to ask. I want to ask this nicely and gently, but being an artist who, like you've said before, and talking about writing songs about your own personal experiences, and some like, for example, Just As Much being about a breakup. When
Mhm.
you do have a breakup or something big like that, there's got to be a part of your mind that goes, "This sucks, but I'll at least have stuff to write about."
Oh my gosh, you have no idea. Like, it's really kind of messed up. Because I've had conversations about this with my writer friends and just other friends in general. I'm like, there's a part of me that like feels alive again. Like, a part of me really thrives in the chaos and the heartbreak. And it's so strange. And I think part of it even goes back to my childhood where I was used to like chaos all the time and yelling and like
Oh
anger. It's like
yeah.
a lot of emotions So, I mean, I've done my own personal work in healing to kind of move through that, but it's definitely a blessing when it comes to my writing because I feel like the best music I've ever made has come from the darkest moments of my
Yeah.
life. So,
Yeah.
there's a silver lining.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
is.
Silver lining. You just don't want to get to the place where you're having breakups on purpose, I guess, right? Like that's
Yeah,
probably the dark
exactly. I don't
spot.
want to be, no self-sabotage.
That's right.
That's like, yeah, no. I would need some help
All
for
right.
that one.
On a little bit of a lighter note, because I know that you're coming from LA here and grew up in the Toronto area, as you'd mentioned. So, winter versus summer. Do you ever come back for Canadian winters?
Okay, well, I obviously come back for Christmas to be with my family, but do I come back specifically for Canadian winters? No, I do not, and I don't miss it.
Mm.
However, I still appreciate the snow because I'm a snowboarder. So I
Yeah.
actually just got I made my way to Big Bear, which is
Nice.
about 2 hours from LA for the first time. It was my first time snowboarding in California or in the United States. And it's so crazy to me how I could be at the beach and then drive 2 hours
Oh,
and be snowboarding down a mountain. So, I do love the seasons just when I want to pick and choose, like when I dabble into the cold and the snow. Besides that, I'm such a sunshine baby. I'm an Aries, so like fire, heat. I do hot yoga every morning. Like, give me that heat, I
yeah.
thrive in the heat and sunshine.
Talking a little bit about your childhood, because you had mentioned that, and you'd mentioned like learning to play guitar and writing poetry and stuff. Was music always going to be the thing, or did you have like competing interests and music won out?
It's a great question because if I'm being completely honest, music started off as just a hobby. It was really writing poetry became first and foremost journaling, writing poetry, and that was my way of coping with all this stuff
Yeah,
at home I was
yeah.
going through. When my mom bought me an acoustic guitar at 14 was when I first discovered the ability to put my poetry to song. And even then I'm like, well, I love this so much and it just pours out of me
Yeah.
even when I'm not trying. Like I'll be, like going for a jog or like doing the dishes or something, and I would have lines and melodies come to my head and I have to write it down. But I never thought that I'd be able to make that my life. It was, one of those things that I feel like we've all gone through in our life is like, I'm not good enough, or, that won't be me. I'm not going to be that star on the stage. And it got to a point where I would try to do other things, but I'm always pulled back to
Yeah.
music and writing. And like, I remember when I was a server at this fine dining restaurant and
Yeah.
I got written up twice. For one, I was like crouched behind the bar, like I was writing on my notepad that I'm supposed to take like orders on, and I'm voice recording on my phone, and my manager came around and I'm like crouched there. I look at her, she looks at me, she's like, office now. I'm like, damn it. That was my first write up. My second write up, I was walking like through the restaurant holding a tray and I was harmonizing to the song that was playing because they always played the same playlist. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I know all the songs, I'm gonna harmonize this. I got written up for singing on the floor, and I'm like, okay, this is not
No.
for me because my light is shining towards music, and this is just like, making me so much smaller than I am.
Crouching behind a bar, I get that one. I mean, you're not working. But if you're actually it's just singing in the red, like that's a little bit of a grump that's managing the place. That's not on you.
I agree. I think she had it out for me. It was always the same manager writing me up. She had it out for me because I was just this bubbly little like
Yeah.
ball of light and energy, and she was cranky.
So these days, when your music comes on the radio and you're listening to it, what's your reaction when you hear your own stuff in a setting like that?
Well, what's sad is that I haven't been in Canada for a while now, so I can't even remember the last time I heard myself on the radio. However, I can remember, when I was back there and hearing myself. I mean, usually, I don't know why, but usually I'm in the car with my mom. She's like, oh my God, Elaine, turns it up. And I'm like, Jesus, like she freaks me out. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. It's amazing. It's always surreal, but I find joy in watching other people's reactions so
Yeah.
much. Like my family, my
Yeah.
friends, them sending me videos and like, Delaney, like hearing you, they're in a shoe store and, bad habits or just as much comes on. And yeah, I get excited from seeing everyone else super excited.
Yeah, absolutely. It does take a little bit of time though to get used to listening to yourself, doesn't it? Like when you feel
Yeah.
comfortable hearing yourself in a place like that.
Yeah. Like, is this real life? Like that came from me and my team.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so
It's
cool.
amazing. It's really amazing.
All right. Well, I've kind of lost track of the time. I'm not entirely sure when we started chatting, so I should let you go so that I don't tick somebody off or whoever's next to interview. Delaney,
Oh, you're all good. It's been a pleasure, Kenton.
thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for chatting. This has been a delight.
Thank you. And again, thank you so much for the support. Really glad you guys are loving my music. And I can't wait to share all the new stuff with you.
Cool. Later.
Okay, bye bye.